good morning, no matter where in the world you might be. Thank you for making us part of your day. Don't say we don't do nice things for you. Today is a very, very special show. Let's roll.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
The Highbury Squad is powered by Zenith Coins. Support the future, treasure the past. Official licence partner of the Arsenal Football Club. Follow at Zenith Coins across all social platforms.
Welcome. We are back live, and joining me is my podcast brother from another mother, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell.
Soph, you don't usually get me excited, but I'm excited about this one today. I can tell you that much. At ease, squaddies. I hope you're well. At ease.
We certainly have a very special show for you. Now, a lot of you listening on replay, I'm sure, because we are not broadcasting at our usual time, but you shift schedules for legends, period. Right, Super Kev?
100%.
And this player is one of my favorites. Been trying a long time to coerce him to come onto the show. He has a book out, Arsenal and After, which he has written with Tom Watt. It's a brilliant book. His career, 447 appearances, won 2 titles, 2 League Cups, won the FA Cup, also won a European trophy with this fella. Welcome to the show, Arsenal legend, Mr. Paul Davis.
Oh, wow. What an intro. Listen, guys, thank you for having me. I'm really looking forward to it. Kevin, wow, it's been a long time, man. It's good to see you looking well.
Last time I saw you, Pops, I think was at the Emirates, wasn't it? That's the last time I saw you.
I think it's maybe the season before last, yeah. But looking well. Good to see everybody, and thanks for having me on. Looking forward to this.
You welcome, two Pop. Really annoy me. You never age. It's highly annoying, by the way, squaddies. Good evening to the usual suspects in the house. They're really excited about this one. Tammy and Newman, absolute legends, 2 of them. Hello, everyone. Pretty excited about this one, Paul. The book, the timing. Before I kind of get stuck into a little bit of stuff with you and Kev, why the book and why now?
Yeah, it's well, the thing was, over the years since I've finished playing, people have often come up to me, and the fans in particular, Dave, what happened there? Why did that happen? What went on in that situation? And generally, there's 1 or 2 topics of conversation definitely that fans want to know about. One is the Glenn Cockle situation, and they obviously want to know about the wins and how you felt about Anfield and Copenhagen, all that kind of stuff, and all that is in the book. But it's the stuff that I haven't really spoken about in the past. I've always kept quiet on those sort of situations. Definitely the Cockle situation, George Graham, why I left Arsenal twice, both as a player and as a coach. And there was a little bit of a cloud under the coaching situation, which I've explained in the book. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, there's a lot of unanswered questions. And one of the other questions really was fans like, what are you doing now? It's like, no one knows. So it was like to get all these questions out there and answered in the book in some detail, and just honest account of what happened to me while I was at Arsenal, my story, done in my words with the help of Tom Watt. And also what I wanted to do was add in, the family side, because as Kevin knows, the pressures of being a footballer, and particularly at Arsenal, I don't think fans really get that side of it. They don't really get a lot of that information. And I wanted to share some of that as well. The pressures of trying to stay at the top of a club like Arsenal, of winning. And hopefully we've got into those kind of details that we think the fans would be interested in. And another reason for doing the book, so there's quite a few reasons, which is great. And we didn't want it just to be just a footballing, I played this game on the 8th of April 1981.
Not a typical football book, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to kind of have those stories in there because we had some success, Kev, didn't we? So you've got to talk about that. And fans want to know about how you felt and what happened, the detail of it.
Yeah.
But also there's all these other little side things that happen in your career that fans are really quite interested to find about, and that's what fans were asking me about. On top of it, I've followed, I've been in the game for so long, 45 years, 50 years. I've lost count. And it's my account of my journey as a black player as well. Yeah. I wanted people to know what it was like earlier on and my views on how things have changed, if they've changed, and what we can do. So yeah, hopefully it covers all those areas and more.
Yeah, that's a wonderful summary. And listen, if I don't ask you this right off the bat, the Gooner Nation might, clobber me. Would you hit him again?
No.
No?
No. It was a big mistake. And I talk about it in the book. It was frustration on top of frustration. And, you can't retaliate like that, regardless of what anyone's done or might have said. It's not something that you can do on a football pitch, and I wouldn't do it again. No, but I do believe in looking after yourself. If people do try and take a few liberties, and Kevin and I,
that was the mantra.
Yeah, we did look after ourselves, and that was one of our assets as a team. We're different ages and come from different parts of the country, but George had instilled that spirit in us as a team to look after ourselves and each other. So I would have found another way of looking after myself. I wouldn't have done that.
It's because Tammy says he was, Kev, like watching you play football. It was like ballet dancing, and then one of our regular listeners, Newman, says it was so uncharacteristic. I think that's what was so strange about it.
Right. Rock them up, Pop. Pop, rock them up. No messing around.
No messing around. No, I think, as Kevin will know, on a football pitch, things happen. But sometimes when things overstep the mark and you feel as though liberty is being taken of you, but you've got to look after yourself in a different way. I wouldn't, that's not the way to do it. And it affected my career without doubt, my reputation. I'm not, Kev knows me. I'm not that type of person. I'm not a violent person. It's something where you snap. Somebody pushes you, and you snap, and you make a wrong decision, and it can cost you. It did cost me. I talk about it in detail in the book.
Is it your England career you feel like it cost the most?
Yeah, and the reputation for a while, people couldn't understand, Paul is quiet, he doesn't say much, and this, and how does that happen? And people, and the papers at the time is, Kev, I don't know if you remember,
I remember.
I'm back.
I remember.
I look back on it
Arsenal.
now.
Paul Davis, Arsenal front and back. I remember it.
For a period of time as well, it was a good few weeks. It wasn't like just 1 or 2 days. And I don't know, it was a tough, I can reflect back on it now and talk about it now. At the time, I couldn't really talk about it. I didn't know how to talk about it. And I think, I don't know, I look back now and I think there was some depression going on, some down times. Kevin know about it, not get picked and being out of the team and injured, and people in the press slagging you off. It's tough. It's tough. And to get through it, you have to be mentally strong. But sometimes when you're mentally strong, other things in your life go. And I talk about that. I talk about how it affects other areas of your life.
Relationships.
Everything.
Yeah, it does.
Family life. I wanted to try and get that into we have got that into the book, and hopefully the fans can read about that in detail, because that is part of our story.
It is important, because Kev always talks about when we go from game to game, Paul, and he gives us the unique fly on the wall perspective of the player, what's going through his mind at that time, at halftime, before and after. And he always says, and Jack Wilshere was on a few months ago, and they were talking about, once you put the shirt on and you've got the badge on that chest, some players carry it with, ease, and some players just can't. And some players have these lapsed moments, a little bit like you did in that situation. But were just a steady, mentally strong player for years and years, even overcoming injuries, but coming into the game at like the pivotal right moments where you had an impact on the trophies that we won as a club. Is there, when you were younger and your publisher kindly shared this picture with me, and then you fast forward it a little bit here with family, and all you wanted to do was play for Arsenal, and carrying the weight of that badge once it came to you wasn't an issue for you, was it?
No, as you say, and Kevin know all about this. The stress of playing for such a big club can't be underestimated in any shape. I think there is that enjoyment, definitely, without a doubt. You're playing football and the fans are there with you, but you have that stress of winning, and you've got to stay fit enough to stay within the first team squad. And so that is the other side of it that I don't feel that fans do get. And it's great that you got Kevin on, because he's been there and he can share that. And I think that's really what I wanted to do with the book, is share all those moments that the fans enjoy, the winning and the cups, but also share those bits that are really, they may not think about as much. And once they start reading them, I think, oh yeah, I didn't realize they have to do that as well. And if they struggle with that, or, because ultimately we're just in a city. Well, I grew up in London. Kev, you were in London as well, weren't you? Kev?
South London.
Of course.
You're Brick Stockwell, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'm Brixton.
Stockwell.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
yeah.
Brixton,
so we're in the same. We're coming from the same sort of
manner.
background,
Same manner. Yeah.
And some great pictures there that are in the book of us. We had a great connection. I'm not sure if I answered your question there. I kind of went round it a bit.
Well, no, because when I'm showing these pictures, it's so easy. We've been through so much adversity as a club, a lot of us were there, some Generation X baby boomer fans, where things weren't going so well in the 80s. George Graham comes in, we had the success of course, the double winners in 71. George comes in, completely changes everything with utter ruthlessness. And, we saw Wenger come in with similar ruthlessness in a different, more modern-esque type of way. Lost that ruthlessness, probably for the last few years of his tenure. And then Arteta comes in with that same ruthlessness. You're footballers. You just want to play football. So we're fans. We just want to win. And I like the juxtaposition of the conversation of when things aren't going well. And when you felt that was really for you happening at the club.
Yeah, I mean, I had a great start. So my debut was at 17, really early on in my start of my career. And that was fantastic. You make your debut. That's like no one, you'd always remember that, and people always ask you about it. And it's, one of the
special day, isn't it?
Special day.
Yeah.
So that was back in 79, and long time ago. And I wanted to tell my story because that's a long time ago, and I've gone all the way through as a player, as a coach developer now with England. So I wanted to kind of tell that backstory that perhaps a lot of people hadn't heard about and would be interested to about. But yeah, my start was a good one. Early 17 debut against Spurs, beat them 2-1.
Love it.
The White Hart Lane. So that was like, it was a great start. And I talk about how it came about in the book, my feelings going to the game, going onto the pitch, and try to give that sort of insight around a player's point of view as well as the actual game itself. In fact, the game, I don't really remember too much. I don't know about you, Kev. I don't remember too much about the game.
No, you don't. There's certain moments, isn't it, you remember, but the game now, you don't.
And this is where the fans come in, though, Kev. The fans are like, wow.
They never forget.
Jesus. Yeah. And like, I'm talking to them, they're telling you everything. So I'm like, it's like what you're saying, like the guts of it. They kind of remember those kind, but you've got other sides of it that you can remember. But I'm glad I'm not the only one, Kev. I forget a lot of the
No,
sort of
you
detail.
don't.
I don't actually forget the game. You know, obviously the winning games. But
Paul,
wow.
listen, we've played a lot of games, and there's a lot of things that is gonna go past. But the one of the questions I wanted to ask you, so you could relay it across. I don't know whether you've got it in the book. Is when you're at Arsenal, when you're going for success, because when you've suffered tough times, when you came in, you know, there were tough times at Arsenal. And then when you start to get successful, the amount of pressure that is on the players to perform, because Arsenal's a huge club, and I don't think the fans actually realize how much pressure is on the players to perform. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
So,
you do feel it. You do feel it. And yeah, you're right. When I came into the team at 17, we'd just come off for the back of sort of 3 FA Cup final appearances. Yeah. So we and we won one of them, but in the league we weren't anywhere near winning the league. So we won one of those 3 FA Cup final appearances, late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
That's right, 3-2. And Terry Neal was the manager. I was just trying to break into the team there. So that was the start of it for me. But after those 3 FA Cup final appearances, 82, 83, 84, it was bad, and the fans weren't having it, and it was like a tough time, you know, as a player I was trying to break into the team, and we had some experienced players, you know, Graham Ricks and Tony Woodcock, that sort of group.
Viv
came a little bit late, sort of mid 80s.
Mid 80s.
But yeah, but the team wasn't producing, you know, and the fans weren't happy. We were getting low fans, like 15,000, you know.
Yeah.
It was pretty toxic.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, people talk about the modern team and the difficulties and all that, but, you know, if you've been around for a little bit, you remember those times. You know, it just shows you. Yeah. And football's so cyclical.
It was, and we weren't doing well in it. We weren't
yelling at you.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting, Paul, is I wanted to put this comment up from a good friend of our show, Lee, who's listening in. Paul won the fans over after a difficult start. Great mental strength, which shows you had it big time. And a lot of other folks are writing in. Universal Greek, who's a huge, you're his favorite player ever. He's talking about your debut, and he's asking, and we'll get onto this subject as well in just a little bit. But do you feel like you were underappreciated? Because in a lot of Arsenal fans, we did this show last season too, and we were like legends who are underrated. And you fell into that category for quite a few people. Would you agree or disagree with that?
Yeah, I feel maybe, yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, and maybe because of my nature. I'm quite a quiet person. I just get on with my work. Generally speaking, I want the best. I work hard. I expect the best of others around me, but I do it in my own way. I'm not screaming. I'm not shouting. I don't go out looking for publicity. It's not me. And I felt that very early on. You know, that I saw things that were happening in the club when I first started, and you know, big voices and loud people and very just big noises, big personalities. But if you got that, you got to deliver. And so there were a few in the early days that were big characters but weren't delivering. And I thought, well, you know, what are you shouting about? There's nothing. You've got to be quiet. You're the one that should be quiet here. So that was my kind of mindset. But yeah, I suppose it is true. I think, you know, it's just people have a perception. And if you go and do your job quietly, efficiently, then I think it can get overlooked. But, you know, I feel that I talk about this all in the book. The fans, after initial 18 months where, you know, they they found it hard to get my game, because my game was more of a passing game. I wanted the ball, I wanted to slow the game down, but the team wasn't doing well, and they wanted us to get into tackles and, you know, win the ball and get the ball forward quickly. That was what I was feeling when I was out there on the pitch. And it took me 18 months, I do remember, to kind of start getting the fans over. But the team was going for a bad period as well, you know, in the early 80s, and fans just get frustrated. But after those 18 months, I've had nothing but love from fans. It's just great meeting them. Kev, I don't know what you're like meeting fans, but it's just brilliant when they come in. The passion that they show for the club and for
the players. Paul, one thing I could tell you what I do remember. I remember, you won't know this because, you know, it's such a long time ago. But as an Arsenal fan, I'm seeing you from South London coming through at Arsenal. Imagine what that does for me. I'm a Brixton boy. I'm a kid coming up. I go to my first game in 1977, Pops, and next minute, Paul Davies from South London is playing in the first team at 17. That changed my life. That made me realize I can do it.
Yeah.
We've never discussed this.
No, we've never really spoken about it. No. And that's really such an important point, Kev, because I that was something that I wanted to bring out in the book, and that's in the book. And I've gone into some detail around that, because that is such an important story to tell. And I'm glad that, yeah, like you say, we've never had this discussion, but, you know, it's something that, you know, it's almost telepathic. I know that you thought about it. I know that I thought about it. And I know that Rocky and Mickey think about it. It's just, because we're coming from that same spot. So there's that connection. And what you just said there, Kev, it's like my role model, you could say, for playing football would have been somebody like Clyde Best, who played for West Ham in the 70s and 80s. And like you just said there, he was somebody that I could connect to, that I could see that looks like me, that I could just resonate with. Yeah. And I saw him on Match of the Day, and I thought, oh yeah, just like you did with me, I did with him. And so these role model things are really, really important, and that, you know, we can't underestimate it, and keep just letting people know that we need role models.
Definitely.
And so, no, I'm pleased. Thanks for saying that, Kev. I think it's really important that those things are said. And so the next generation.
He talks about you all the time.
But here's the funny thing, though, Pops. So there I am. Obviously, you're up there for me now. You know what I mean? You're there. And I remember in the 6-week holidays, you guys were back at pre-season training. They used to have all the kids come in, schoolboys come in and play games. And there I am, squaddies. I'm there at the training ground. Well, I would say small, Kev, but I was always big, I suppose. But there's the first team training, and you came through, and you like you touched my hand, and I was like, that was it. That was it.
I remember,
That was it, because the first team players were accessible for the youngsters. Sometimes you guys would even come and stand between the hedges and watch the games and stuff like that, Sophie. Do you know what that does for a kid? You got Paul Davison, Woodcock, and all those guys, Viv Anderson, even for 50, 60 seconds, just standing in between the hedges watching the game, and then they go because they've got a train. That absolutely meant the world to me, Pops. And then when I did join, meeting you properly was even better, because you put that wing around me. Special. I'm delighted that I'm on with you now, because I can tell this story. Because
it's great. It's great.
I've never had the opportunity to tell you, Pops.
Yeah. No, that's nice. It's nice to hear. It's nice to hear, and it's nice to have the conversation like this, because, you know, there is that kind of connection. There's something that connects us together, and like the same with Rocky and Michael and Gus and all those guys that have done something at Arsenal, and that we've got that kind of that core that's in us, and we've done something. And we've done something at a great club that should be celebrated and talked about. And no, I remember coming when you were coming through, and I we kept on hearing. I kept on hearing your name because like Kevin's scoring goals, man, in the youth team.
Yeah.
Everyone's can you score some goals in youth? It's only a question of time before you like was breaking through, and sure enough, it was you were there. So I was made up to see you guys because I knew we didn't know each other before, did we? Before
no,
the
we
Arsenal,
didn't.
and we just. I mean, I heard of you coming through the ranks. Kevin Campbell and the names Rocastle and Michael Thomas, and I knew you guys were from South London, so I thought, wow, okay, I'll look out for these guys.
The boys are coming. The boys are coming.
And so if they do come in the team, I just wanted to make sure that they were okay and there weren't any problem. But they could look after themselves. They didn't need me around. Those guys are able to. You guys were able to look after yourself. But
I love it.
It's nice to have you guys.
But the guidance,
and making
Pops, your guidance was incredible. You probably won't even remember certain things, but your guidance, Pops, even sometimes where we played in training, and you just said, Kev, don't go there. Just move to your, just nice and calm. Kev, don't go there. Because you know me, I was like Rambo, crash back, wallop, I was everywhere. You said, no, Kev, just wait there. Just sit in between them. Just sit in between them. When I get the ball, then make you run.
Yeah.
I didn't need to go crazy then. Just little things, Pops. Believe you me, you made a big difference to my career, my life. You know what I mean? And I don't call people legends easy. But Pops, you are one big legend for me. Always have been.
Thanks, Kev.
Totally. And look, you guys, been working on, when we have players on, Paul, to hear about your heroes as well. And Kev talks about you and Rocky and the impact that you had on him. And it's Tiffany Campo, who's one of our listeners in the United States, just put up, this is how we feel about you. And a lot of the things that make the Highbury Squad a little bit different is the nostalgia and the history. And we have a lot of young listeners who are, making comments now about, I'm learning a lot about my club. I was born in 98, and it's so important to keep this legacy going and this legacy alive and tell these stories. And there's such great stories. Winning is fun, isn't it? And as fans, we kind of lost our way a little bit. But I want you to kind of take us through like what it meant to you to be a winner. We've talked about the challenges, winning at the club, playing with the players that you played with, but in particular, the influences, Terry Neal, George Graham. We just want to win again and be competitive in the Premier League. Yeah. And we've seen you guys do it. What is that like what was it like for you?
Like we said earlier on, a club like Arsenal, that is the expectation. And like we're just talking about, when we were younger at Arsenal, and that's how it was when you were 17, playing against in the Southeast counties, it was called then, yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was like, even then it's about winning. It's about, you've got to beat your Tottenham. It's all, we're playing the sort of London clubs mainly, Chelsea, Tottenham. You had to beat them. And so the pressure was on from very early on. You knew that you had to win games. And then obviously you go through the reserves. And reserves football was great for me. I don't know how you found it, but it's great for me.
Combination, wasn't it? Combination. Yeah.
You're playing against senior players who are going to, thump you and get into tackles with you. And it's going to be physical. So you're growing up with all that around you. And then you get into the first team and, the expectation is to win. And you very quickly realise that you've got to win. If you're in the team, you've got to play well and win. Win. And then if you're fortunate enough that we got a manager in George who were able to organise us, get us playing in a way that was winning. It was a winning game. George knew how to get us working as a team. And then it becomes like a bit of an habit. You start going out each week and you start thinking, well, we're not going to lose this game because we've got such a solid team, group of players. And George, to be fair, I talk about George a lot in the book because we had our ups and downs, had our fallouts, big fallouts with George, but he did bring us success, and I talk about the way that I felt that he did it. Winning is is what it's about, Sophie. It's about, you know, when at a club like Arsenal, you've got to win more than you're losing, for sure. And it's the same now. These guys are in no different situation. You know, the game might have changed. Might be on a little bit more money, or actually a lot more money, but it's still, they still got to win. Got to win, yeah. And it's the same as when we played, and you've got to deal with that as a person, as a player. Professional sport is relentless, and yeah, I wanted to get across that side of it in the book because I think that was something that for me played a big part. That sort of mentality to play well, and to play well when things might not be going your way off the pitch, and the methods that you might use to do that. But yeah, winning becomes a habit, which we were lucky enough to experience. Not many teams can go, you know, sort of runs that we had. You know, one game we lost in one season, didn't we? Was you in that squad game?
That was my first title.
So you know, not many people. Not many people.
The almost invincibles.
Almost invincibles. That's it.
One of the best teams.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and we used to go out knowing that we weren't losing. You know, we wanted to win, and like often we get the first goal, and you know, we knew that we won. More
it's
or less.
Over. It's over.
But yeah, to get that feeling, wow, it takes a lot of hard work. Some good players, and good organisation. George, for all the fallouts I've had with George, and I go into the detail of it in the book, but he did organise us, and I talk about how he did that.
Wait, Pops, who didn't fall out with George?
No.
He fell out. Well, I think it was part of his psyche, Pops, wasn't it? Because he would fall out with you to see the reaction a lot of the time. He was a smart manager. Yeah.
So I think for me to reflect back, Sophie, on all that, I think it's a good time to do this for me. I've finished playing. I'm still in the game. I've gone on to other things, but I can look back and it's clearer. A lot of the stuff that I'm talking about, it is clearer, rather than sort of doing it when I was at, you know, just finishing the game, or, you know, even just a little while after, while I was still in the coaching. I was still toying whether to go into coaching management.
Yeah, it's good to let things marinate sometimes, isn't it? There's a lot of 20-year-olds that write autobiographies now, and it's like, come on.
Yeah.
Just before we move on to the next subject, because I've got to get your take on this when we talk about winning. I have debates a lot with folks, as does Kev, about top four versus winning a trophy. We would want to win Europa League all day long this season, rather than finish in the top four. It also gets you back into the Champions League. What is Paul Davis' take on top four versus trophy? I think I have an idea, but I want the folks at the back just to kind of hear what you have to say about it.
I haven't really thought about it. It's top four for this season. We're doing really, really well. It's looking good. He's got the players, got some really good players in. I'm really excited for it, and the fans are excited for it. More importantly, I talk to them, they're like, "Wow, it's so up this season so far." So everything's looking good. Things are moving in the right direction. We're not, you know, seriously speaking, we're not going to win the league, I don't feel. But I feel that we will be in the top four, and I expect us to be in the top four. And I expect him to win the trophy as well, if I'm pushing it. So that would be my expectation of this year, in the top four, and to win a cup.
So if you had to choose one, Pop.
Oh, one or the other. Oh, I can't choose. Okay, it's got to be one or the other.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, well, if you win the cup, then you go into Europe, don't you?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If we do win, maybe Pops will have something to do with it here, Super Kev. Because sliding into the Mikel Arteta conversation a little bit deeper here, and then we'll circle back at the end with some questions that will cover some of the middle bits, Paul. You were a mentor to Mikel. He's done the foreword for your book.
Yeah, he's kindly done. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Talk us through your relationship a little bit, what you've seen in him, what it means to you, why him for the forward.
Yeah. So he kindly agreed to do the forward, which I was delighted with. I met Mikel in his last year at Arsenal as a player. So that was 2015. And I'll go into detail again in the book, but the sort of basic idea was that he wanted to start his coaching journey, so to go start his badges. And at that time, I was with the PFA. I was working as a coach developer at the PFA, and his agent contacted the PFA, explained that he wanted to start his qualifications, and because I was Arsenal myself, and I was local, I was in the North London area, I was connected up with him to help him on his first qualification. And that was when we first met. And it's like, and at that stage, the qualifications started to be more one-to-one rather than
group,
classroom.
Rather than group, yeah.
Yeah. So I was actually doing one-to-one sessions, or he was doing one-to-one sessions with me. So he'd go down to A-Land, he'd organise the young players, 15, 14-year-olds. I'll contact him. He'll let me know what time to come in to A-Land, or I'll give him a topic to do. And so I went in. He'll do a topic, and then afterwards we'll talk around it. What did why did he do it that way? And it's kind of So it's a mentoring thing. But listen, Mikel, his level of knowledge at that time was still on another level. I work with a lot of coaches that are coming out of the game, and he was just on another level. I wasn't. I was just supporting him, really. It's kind of just scared, like saying, okay, fine, that's good. We need to move on to this part of the qualification. So I was kind of helping, but he was fantastic as somebody who wanted to listen and wanted to learn the course itself. I think a lot of players have difficulties in doing the courses because they have to come back and kind of go back to school almost. They have to start doing some writing and reading stuff, and it's like when you're in a player,
monotonous. You don't need to do none of that.
You just play. You just go and play. You just do your stuff. But as coach, you got to get into this habit. And to be fair to him, he was, and the relationship has kind of just gone on from there. I had no doubt that he was going to be a good coach back then, simply because he knew Pep at that time. He was having conversations with Pep. So, they go back a long way. So he's just got if you've got that kind of connection and people like that, he was up at Man City. He's picked up a lot. So I had no doubt. And even last year when they were going through a rough, difficult period. And fans were getting on about it. So, don't panic. It's kind of, he's going to work it out. He's going to just give him some time. And we're starting to see that now. And even if we have a few dips this year, which we might do, lose a couple of games that we shouldn't do, fans got to just keep calm and stick with him, because he's a good guy. He's got get the experience now. Well, he knows what he's doing. And I'm a bit biased, obviously, because I've had a hand in his development, and I'm still in contact with him, and he's supporting me with the book. But no, I think we've got a good guy there.
So Kev and I often argue about whether it's the manager or the players. It's actually become a bit of a slogan, Sophie, it's the players, right. Even in the moments where maybe it looks like he had made some poor choices, playing Xhaka at left back, leaving Sambi in no man's land in midfield, little things that, as a fan, you get super emotional about. And it's so funny to see him use the word emotion so often in this series, because it feels like maybe with the younger players, that's what you need to tap into. Some of his methods, I'm thinking George Graham wouldn't have done any of that. So I want your take on that, but also, is it the players? Is it always the players? Kev says once you cross the white lines, it's the responsibility of the players. fans, of course, think the manager's culpable too. What's your take on all of that?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Kev. I think as a player, you got to accept responsibility when you step on the pitch. But the manager has a responsibility of organising you and the instructions and giving you some trust and confidence. I mean, you should have that anyway, trust in yourself and confidence. But a manager is an important part of it. You know, if they aren't giving you the right messages, or it's not clear enough, or it's you're not giving the right instructions as a team, then the manager has to take a little bit of responsibility. But once you're out there, players have got to find a way. I feel that as a player, I've always felt as a player, you got my instructions from the manager. There was a few times I didn't agree with it, but I'm a professional. I've got to then go out and try and implement whatever the manager's asking me to do. That's what a professional is supposed to do. Ultimately, it's down to the players, but I don't think you can. The manager just gets off of it. He's got to. He's got to have.
No, Paul. Look, it's not the manager's getting off with it. That's for sure. But you and I know you work all week for the Saturday. You implement certain things. You have a game plan. Every team has a game plan. Every team implements what they're going to do on the Saturday when they get into the game. So once you cross the white line, there's not much more the manager can do. That's my point. That's why I say it's the players. Because if the players can't implement what the manager wants, ultimately the responsibility will be the manager gets sacked if they can't do it. But because the players go out there, if the players can implement what the manager wants and they win, that's what makes managers. Isn't it?
I agree.
That's what makes managers.
I agree, but the other side of that, Kevin, I'm perhaps maybe edging onto Sophie now, maybe onto Sophie's side, because like some managers send you out with the wrong instructions. So if and I've seen that they send the team out with the wrong strategy, the wrong game plan to win that particular game. They've got it wrong, but they've sent you out there. So you're trying to do all this stuff that the manager's doing. I've seen this a lot, and you're gone out there as a player, listen to the manager, but it's not the right one. It's not the right instructions to win that particular game on that particular day. I've seen that as well. So there is that other side to it.
Did that happen to you guys often?
Pops,
often.
I could honestly say it's happened to me.
Yeah.
But as a player, Pops, on the pitch, do you just keep doing what the manager wants, or do you adjust? You say, hey, this ain't working. You know what it's like. Sometimes when we were getting done, Pops, we said, right, Rocky come in, Anders come in, or Merce come in. We stay tight in midfield and we don't give nothing up.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. The players have to adjust on the pitch. We just stay tight for 5-10 minutes and keep it like that until we get a grip of the game. Fair enough. Managers, because not everything's going to work. We know that. The opposition might adjust. The opposition might play totally different to how you expect them to play sometimes. But the players have to be able to make decisions on the fly sometimes on the pitch. And Arsenal haven't been good at that for, 15 years? We haven't been great at that.
Yeah. No, that's true. Players should have the capability of, making those adjustments, that whatever's needed on the pitch. But the other side to that, Kev, is that some managers don't allow that freedom for the players, do they? Some managers want a rigid way of playing. And if a player does take it upon himself to change something, they're not happy. The manager's not happy. I've seen that. So, it
can work both ways. Yeah, I get that.
I think it is a bit both ways. But ultimately, I think strongly the players have a lot of say in how game's going to go. Yeah, attitude.
Finally playing alongside Paul Davis, me there, Super Kev. I like it.
You,
that was
you in midfield with Pop? Is that you
I look like I slept with a coat hanger in my mouth now. Yeah, totally. Okay, so here's one for you. You can answer it whichever way you like because they all have an impact. But who was better for Arsenal, Wenger or Graham? Do you think they both achieved things in a similar way, done differently? What's your take on who's better for the club?
Oh, who's better? God, these questions are both unbelievable. I mean, I did not admire both of them. I mean, but the way Arsene Wenger had that team playing, I don't know. That beats a lot of things. I think if I had to choose, or even though I wasn't part of that Invincibles, watching them play that football was well.
It's incredible,
it's
wasn't it?
breathtaking, yeah. But yeah, both, mate. I can't. That's a horrible question.
That's a
50.
50. I know it's a horrible question, but if you had, let's say, that 91 team does go, I think it's a totally different narrative. I think the Wenger Graham narrative is because of the Invincibles, and of course, why wouldn't it be? We're the only club, that has a gold. But if you guys go undefeated that year, I think the conversation is a lot tighter than it's made out today because they both, I think, saved the clubs in different ways, in different eras at different times and delivered incredible football. I think because it was such champagne football and we went invincible that maybe George Graham's Arsenal gets a tad, not overlooked, but maybe for those reasons, not as equal.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I do feel as though George Graham and our team do get overlooked. Yeah. I mean, I don't hear it. Well, you guys are talking to fans all the time, so you might hear it. But I feel George Graham's teams being slightly overlooked. I think.
Well, we haven't won a European trophy since you guys played, and we haven't won the League Cup since you guys played. So I think there's just it's very easy to look at it from we went an invincible, which was amazing, but in Europe, really, he wasn't that great. Never won the League Cup, but of course the FA Cup many, many times. I'm just saying that I think they're a little bit more equal than some people make out. I have to get to some questions. We've got Paul here for about 15 more minutes. You're good on the hour, right, Paul? You're okay for another few?
Yeah, for 10. Yeah, for 10. What time? We know 5 o'clock. I probably need to leave. So yeah.
Okay, no problem. We'll get you out on that real quick because it is important, and you brought it up at the very beginning. You're seeing what's happening in the world today. Kev talks about this a lot on our show. I'm not sure if UG's got this right, but if you were the only black player at Arsenal once Viv Anderson left, but your work now with what you're doing at the FA and UEFA, I know you're in coaching stuff, but also this is a subject that is very important, and I know it's important to you.
Yeah. So, the black player bit, I suppose I was the first black player at Arsenal to establish myself. So there was Brendan Batson before me. He played, I think, about 6 games for Arsenal. So he's the first black player, but he only played 6 and then moved on to West Brom. And then I came along. And so I'm really proud of that. I was one of the first ones at Arsenal, and then I was the first one to establish myself. And I only really thought about that after I finished playing on this reflection time, because as I said before, Kevin, when you're in it, you're just playing the games, you want to win, just doing it.
Yeah.
And it's only afterwards I look back now and I reflect, and fans come up to me, and particularly black fans have come up to me and said, like, we started supporting Arsenal because you.
Yeah.
I never thought about it before, and it's like it's so powerful. It's such a powerful thing for anyone to say. And then when you sit back and reflect on it, and you think, wow, that is just something else. And so many black supporters have said that to me. I don't know if they kind of said that to you, Kev, since you finished, but
all the time.
It's such a big thing that it has to be mentioned. And so it's a big part of my book, right? And you're right, I do feel strongly about you know, the lack of opportunity, particularly in coaching and management, is still there. And I've followed it all the way through from, you know, my days of finishing and going into coaching and now into coach development. I've watched how the landscape is, and I've watched individual cases, and I've studied it, and it's so frustrating what I've seen over the years, and it's been frustrating watching year after year after year. And so I wanted to put my thoughts down on paper in the book around this area as well, around this part of the game, because it is something that the game is missing, the diversity massively. And, you know, I just know if we can become better at this diversity stuff within the game, then the game will be better for it. It's just no brainer. But, you know, people, I'll say this and people be thinking, oh, what's he on about? There's no issue and this and that. And, you know, I've studied it, I've lived it, and I've tried to put it down on paper so that people, if they want to, can read a little bit more about it. And if they want to, they can find out a little bit more. Maybe we can continue to have debates, but debates and discussions are good, but we do need some actions in these areas. I mean, from a playing point of view, things have moved on fantastic. You know, so when I first started, I could say I was the only black player in Arsenal's team, and there weren't many of us playing in the league itself. So that's fantastic. But I can't ignore the management, the senior management in the game. I've witnessed and I've seen, and if you know, I defy anybody to name me more than a dozen.
It's amazing how Gerrard and Lampard could get a job in the Premier League, but Sol Campbell can't. You know, there's a lot of lots of questions like that, and
people. The thing, Sophie, people. I speak to people now. I still see in people's faces like, "What are you talking about?" It's like they look at you like, I don't. Not. You know, people are starting to realise it, I think, but it's still, the numbers are still really, really bad, really terrible. And I've looked at all the numbers in terms of senior coaches. I know, you know, I'm sure you do as well, Kev. I don't know how you look at it. You know, we do look at these things, and I don't. And like I say, Sophie, you know, those kind of names, Gerrard and Lampard, and everybody looks at that and they ask themselves the question, why? How comes that? Why is that?
Kev was the first black captain for Everton, and think about that, wasn't so long ago, you know.
Exactly.
So we just have to keep the narrative going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And hopefully I wanted to bring that out in my book, and I kind of just hopefully that it comes through, and that it's for the better for all of us, really. I think the game will just go on another level if it's more diverse.
You talk about it in such an organic way. You know, I think that's the key these days, is when we're having conversations, they seem like that. And, you know, I think that's really important. You both come from a place of experience, and the game's evolved and changed, but hasn't changed across a lot of different facets.
One of the things, sorry, Sophie, one of the things that what kind of stuck out to me, because I've done some work with the England junior teams, 17s and 18s, and I've been on their camps and stuff, and the amount of mixed kids in those age groups, it's like 85, 90% in some cases, you know, black or mixed. And I've been in those kind of team meetings, and I've been like the only black coach in it.
Yeah.
And the connection, first of all, those guys have never seen that. The kids have never seen that. It was like, so I was like, they were like, okay, who's this guy? What's he? Yeah, you can visibly see in their face. Like, yeah. And then as they start finding out a bit more about you, because they don't know, you know, and they start, someone will say, oh, it's Paul Davis, used to play for Arsenal. So they probably Google you, and then they start looking, and then they look at the
pictures. They see, wow.
Yeah. And I'm sure you've had this, Kev, and they start slowly over the next couple of days, they start edging
Grilling
towards
you.
it.
Grilling?
Yeah, they're working you out at first, seeing if you're okay, you know, because you've got to be a decent person at full stop.
Yeah.
Whether, and so they but this was such a live thing for me that they started coming over, started asking about this, and so how did you deal with that, and how did you cope with that? So I thought, I went away, I had these conversations with these kids, and I went away thinking, wow, that has gone another level. That's gone past football. They're asking stuff that's really meaningful. And so if they can feel comfortable to have those discussions, it will make them feel comfortable to actually being there and actually performing and just getting the best out. And I've tried to
relay that,
this,
I'm sure.
relay that to you know, to anybody that really wants to listen and then make a change. So yeah, it's just something that I've observed, and I think it's really, really powerful to get out.
Well, you've gone from here to here, and you know, I love this picture that your publisher shared as well, and of course with your teammates. And I'm there's so much, Paul. I'm going to do a quick fire round with you because there's a lot of listeners that want to know what you think about today's Arsenal. So we'll get you and Kev out on a quick fire. But you're
don't ask me. I'm happy to listen.
You're gonna have to promise to come back for part 2 because we haven't even scratched the surface. So I've kind of gone here, trying to grab every little bit of you, and hopefully we get to have you for a second bite during the season. That's where you say yes, no problem. So if I'd love to come back.
Yes. So anytime. It's just been great talking. You know, to meet you stuff. I don't think we've met, but Kevin, obviously, I ain't seen for a little while. It's great. It's great just to talk.
I love it. Yeah, it's brilliant. Right, I'm going to get you out on these quick fire ones. Your favorite current Arsenal player?
Oh man, it's supposed to be quick. Oh god, favorite current. I'm going to say Saka.
Saka. Okay. I was wondering if this guy might come into it. Do you think he's a good passer of the ball? Got to ask that one. Everyone, he's been much maligned by some fans.
Yes.
In your
I've got to say, it's taken a while to grow on me. Yeah, he's doing well. He took a while to grow on me. I thought he was a little bit one-paced, but yeah, he's a good passer, and he's definitely improving. And yeah, I'm looking forward to watching him play.
How impressed have you been with Saliba so far?
Yeah, again, this is the first I'm seeing him play. The fans have taken to him big time. They love those songs. They're singing. Oh, it's great. Yeah, no, he's done well. He's looking solid. Looks comfortable on the ball, doesn't he? So, yeah, they've all started off well, and hopefully it continues. But yeah, there's going to be many more challenges for these guys. It's a tough league, isn't it?
League.
And they get found out if they're not
tough to win.
It's tough to 2 or 3 games they've done really, really well, but it's over the period. They've got to really keep performing like they're doing now. And that's what they need to do. That's the pressure they're going to be under.
How much do you hate Tottenham on a scale of 1 to 10?
Oh, Tottenham is. We always want to win those games. I don't know about hate. I don't really hate them.
11, Pops. Just say 11.
No, I can't say. I've got to be honest. Those guys. I mean, yeah. I'll say 10.
Okay, good answer. Good answer. Will Arsenal win a trophy this season?
Yes.
Which one?
Which one? Which one? I'd like to win the Europa. Yeah, that'd be good. Win the Europa. Get us back in Champions League if we don't get in Champions League in the top 4, which I hope we will do anyway. Yeah. But to win the Europa, get inside the top 4, that would be a really successful season for me.
Yeah. Xhaka in or Xhaka out?
Oh man, some of the things that he does just gets. Me and my partner Andrew, we just sit here just thinking. I've got to have him in at the moment, but that could change next week.
Does Gabriel Jesus win the Golden Boot this season?
Yes. Oh, what
What
someone said to me
player.
the other day, what player? And it's like they said he reminded them of Ian Wright in the way that he scores goals and the way that he wants to score goals. I don't know how you feel about it, Kev. I think there is a little bit of
That hunger,
that little
movement.
bit, that movement
Yeah.
about him, isn't it?
Yeah.
I didn't think about it before, and I thought, yeah, I can see that.
Pops, because we didn't see enough of him at City, really, did we? You know, we saw him play certain games, but we didn't see him as a number 9 all the time.
No. But you're right. I kind of see that side of it. And like you, Kev, like he wants to score goals. He like Kev, you score goal scorer. You want to score goals. He wants to score.
Yeah,
he wants to score. The hunger for scoring is there. You can see it, and he's a winner. Those guys have won things, haven't they? You know, Kev. When you win things, you know what it's like to win. You want to do it again. These guys,
the taste is there.
Yeah, taste is there. You want some more. They've got it.
Are you, real quick, 2 more. Are you playing Zinchenko over Kieran Tierney?
I play them both. I play him ahead of. Yeah, because he can play. Tierney can play left back, and he can play ahead. But then that leaves out Martinelli, doesn't it? Yeah.
Or do you leave out Xhaka?
Oh, Xhaka. Yeah. So he's got some things to play around with there. I didn't really think about that one. There's a few combinations there that he can play around with. So he's got some options there, hasn't he? But I would. If they're both fit and they're playing well, I'd want to play those two. I'd probably leave out Xhaka. But it depends, yeah. It all depends on who you're playing.
At the moment, we leave it as it is.
We'll leave it as it is.
Yeah, it's going all right. Yeah, it's going all right.
It's going all right. We leave it as it is.
And last one, Ben White, overrated or underrated?
I'm yet to be totally convinced with Ben, really, to be honest. I think... I don't think he's a right back. We've been playing him right-sided. He's made a few unforced mistakes recently. I'll give him a few more games, but I'm a little bit hesitant.
Interesting.
Yes.
Well, look, it's been absolutely brilliant. We're going to end it there, you guys. Paul's already promised he's going to come back.
I've got one thing to say to Paul. I've got one thing to say to Pops.
You're going to close us out anyway, so...
Yeah, but I've got one thing to say to Pops. Pops' performance in the Cup Winners' Cup final, check it out, people. Check it out. Because first European trophy since the Fairs Cup, right? Pops and Ian Selly played centre mid in the Cup Winners' Cup final. Check out the performance. That's all I'll say. I ain't got to say nothing more to that, Pops.
Yeah,
because
those games are so they're just so great to talk about.
And it was a mental game. It was a game of here, not just physical. It was here because we're playing obviously Parma and who they had, but how to structure. Pops, you were different.
Thanks, Kev.
You were different class.
It's been great. It's been great to be on, guys. I really have enjoyed it. Hopefully that people enjoy the read. And I wanted it to cover so many different parts of my personality. And hopefully it comes through. And it's an honest account of what's happened.
Have to get some signed copies for the squaddies. So
yes, we're going to do some giveaways. I'm going to work with Claire on that.
We'll get you to sign them, Pops. Probably 10 books. We'll buy them, get you to sign them, and then we could ask some questions to the squaddies and see who wins. But do you know what, Pops? It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. I know the book's going to be successful. I know it is because legends don't come like you do, mate. You're not only a top-class human being, you're a top player and a real top person and a gooner. So, squaddies, Paul Davis, we thank you.
Thank you so much, Paul.
I know you've got to go and stuff like that, but listen, I wish you and your family well, and hopefully we could get you back on to discuss some more of Arsenal.
For sure. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot, Paul. Take care. See you soon. That is Paul Davis, Arsenal legend. Absolutely brilliant stuff from him. That game, Kev,
Jeff
that
Gold,
Parma
look,
team.
dancing in
Yeah,
the Copenhagen. Listen, it was because we were depleted, Soph. We were really depleted. And, you know, you would think to you have John Jensen and no Wrighty, no Martin Keown, no, all this. We had so many players out. No Dave Villiers, Paul Davis and Ian Selly, and Paul Davis. I'm telling you, he glued that midfield together. I'm telling you, so.
people were expecting us to get stuff because if you look back, someone had put up who was in that Parma team at the time, by the way,
Oh,
everybody.
you look who was in
Thomas
Palms.
Brolin,
Brolin,
Aspria.
Aspria, Sensini, Zola, Cripper, Benarivo, Sensini at the back.
Crazy.
I mean, all internationals. I think there was about 10 internationals in their team. But
Yeah.
the Arsenal, nobody likes losing. We've got to be successful. So
Exactly. It's so funny, isn't it, when you've been waiting to have someone on the show for so long and then you just want to ask everything and you try and do it.
I didn't ask that.
And you try to do it chronologically, but then you're like, oh my God, you go here, you go there. And he's such a thoughtful interviewee. Like he really marinates, and I love it because
He marinates the question and then takes his time and answers. Just like
Yeah.
as a player, isn't he? He's just not how he is as a player.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Totally. Exactly like that. Oh, look, you're getting high marks again. You should be worried about that.
Oh, no, I'm worried.
I mean, the comments, Kev, I don't know if you're seeing them.
I'm not. Newman, give me 4, please.
This channel produces such classy content. Thank you so much. Simply fantastic. If you want to vote for us for the Football Content Awards, check it out. I tweeted it today. You can vote for the Highbury Squad. We think that we bring really different content and storytelling like this. And I tell you, it can't be just one round with Pops, Kev. It's got to be part 2, part 3.
We didn't really touch on, the pictures and all that.
I know.
We didn't really touch on a lot of the training and what goes on, but I'm sure a lot of it will be in his book.
Yeah.
But it's always nice to get it on a podcast, isn't it? Always nice to get it straight from the horse's mouth, sort of thing. And,
definitely. And I think a lot of the times when people talk about their book, they don't want to tell you everything because, of course, they want you to go out and buy it. The link is in our description, by the way. We are going to be giving away a few throughout the season. We got a major book competition coming up as well in the next 2 weeks, which I'll tell you about next week. So yeah, I mean, it's been a brilliant show and I don't have anything else to add other than I can't wait for him to come back on so we can get stuck into some of the anecdotal side of things as well, Kev, outside of the bigger picture stuff that Paul touched on and talked about. He talked about that at the very beginning, Chris. You can rewind it. It was really good. That's how we started off the show. He regrets it, doesn't he, Paul?
He does.
Paul regrets it.
So I'm sure because he got a heavy ban. I don't know if you remember.
It was 9. Was it 9 games?
9 games. He got a heavy ban, and 9 games out, Sophie. Is a long time. And then you try and play again, then you start picking up injuries and stuff. Like, it was a very, very. And he's obviously going to cover it in the book, but it was a very. I remember watching himself. I watched Paul suffer these things. And to see his focus, that's why, for me, his performance in that Cup Winners' Cup final was incredible. Because somebody who really suffered because of that incident, and he's got a scar on his thigh where I think he ruptured his thigh muscle, so they had to put a big scar down his leg and go into his thigh, and he had to recover from that, and it was hard work for him. But to see him come back from that, and then the way he played in that Cup Winners' Cup final,
but Kev, he had moments where there was a period where he was out for a year with an injury. That's why I was saying to him, like, winning, but also the adversity side of things. But when we won trophies, he may have been injured here or there, but when he played in those games, it was immense. And when he didn't, you actually saw the difference.
We missed him. We missed him.
Hmm
100%. We missed him because he's got so much quality. I think Newman mentioned it actually. You know, the way he is
The
as a player.
ballet dancer.
Yeah, he's so elegant, but so skilled at that position. And the best players, Sophie, always look like they got more time than everybody else.
Yep.
And he always looked like he had so much time he could get a touch on the ball. It never worked like that for me. I could tell you that much, Sophie. It was never, it never worked.
You had it in the back of the net, though. That's why.
Probably because I play a different position. But, the engine room and the trenches is the midfield. And the way Paul could just, his touch and the way he just passed, it was so elegant. And such a top guy as well. As you saw, he's just such a, such a credit
classy.
to Arsenal. Such a classy guy. Credit to the Arsenal.
You boys, though, Paul, Davis, Rocky,
Tomo,
Mickey. I mean, your mamas did a good job on you boys, and you did a good job yourselves as well. But you really, like, it's so, you could see when he was looking at the pictures, he was a little speechless too, like thinking, he noodles on things. He's taken back there. He's thinking about those moments.
It really does, Sophie. It does. Every time, every time I see those photos, I get in the time machine and I go back. Because the feeling, you never forget those feelings. What if you've done it with movies, and any of the squaddies who's achieved anything with other people, and you've got photos, there's a connection between you all that you can't break, no matter where you are, what you do. You look at that photo and that'll take you back. And that's what all these photos do. You remember the celebrations, remember the feeling, the hugging of each other, because you work so hard. Everybody works to try and be successful. But there's only really one or two teams who can be successful. And when we were at Arsenal, we shared a lot of success, which is beautiful.
Yeah. You'll find Universal Greek had a meeting at 4:30 for, I think it's Britain's Got Talent season, whatever, next season's planning. And he cancelled it because he was way into listening to the show, which we love, of course. But you're right, Kev. When it gets to the end of filming a movie and it's like, that's a wrap, but it's like the wrap, there's a element of, wow, what an experience, and sadness too, because you're never going to capture that in a bottle again.
You have to create new ones, don't you? You have to create new things. And even if you do another movie and it's good, it will never be the same as this. It will be different.
Yeah.
So they're all different. Yeah. And I don't know if any of the squaddies remember Jeremy Beadle's About.
Oh God! Watch out, Beadle's About.
Paul Davis was on Beadle's About. Arsenal, we were on there as a squad. And if you remember Beadle's About, Paul had a Porsche at the time, and Beadle crushed it.
Oh my God! I think I remember that.
Remember that they crushed Paul's Porsche. So Perry Groves had to run and press this thing to stop it. And he's on there. Beadle's got him, because Jeremy Beadle's a big gooner. And Perry's got the wig on and he's running. Run, Perry! He's telling Perry to run. Gross. Oh,
these are the little things that we didn't get into today, but we will for sure. Kev, brilliant stuff. Thanks so much for being part of it. It would never have been the same show without
I had to be
you being here. And it was so sweet seeing him react to what you were saying to him about, him being a massive influence for you.
I looked up to Paul Davis big time.
I just kind of sat there like this today. It was nice.
South London, me coming up in South London. You imagine, me coming up in South London, playing football, and then Arsenal, and then a lad from South London, he's playing for the first team at 17.
That's crazy.
I'm 9, 10 years old. He can do it. I could do it, my God. And then obviously you get through and he gives you a fist bump or a touch, shakes your hand or, whatever. It's just like, I definitely can do it. And then you become part of the inner circle. And he's one of your mentors in the team.
Yeah.
Sophie, I've lived the dream. I've lived such a fantastic dream. I'm so blessed, everybody.
Amazing.
I'm blessed with you, Sophie. I'm blessed with you, squaddies, and I'm blessed with the Arsenal. Telling you.
Kev, you take us out. You tell the people.
So, squaddies, what a show, what a podcast. Paul Davis, Arsenal and After, the book. Get it if you can. We're gonna get some copies signed, and Sophie's gonna make sure you get a chance to win. But I just think Sophie's done a great job making sure securing Paul Davis to come on for an exclusive. And can't thank Sophie enough. And I thank you, squaddies, for joining us. And for those who join us after who couldn't watch the show, enjoy it. And don't forget, salute and hit the like button. Love it. And at ease, squaddies. We love you and take good care.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
The Highbury Squad is powered by Zenith Coins. Support the future, treasure the past. Official licence partner of the Arsenal Football Club. Follow at Zenith Coins across all social platforms.